getting out of bed was excruciating. It's hard to ask for help, especially when you're raising with someone with a special need. You start realizing that your body is just breaking down. Tiredness was sort of a sign of weakness because I don't know essentially like when to stop. Maybe if you're confining in someone within your inner circle that cannot relate, they're not alone, and it really is okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you get down to the root causes of anything in your life, you can find ways to change it.
Welcome back to Love Out of Chaos with the Valentines. I'm Patrick Valentine.
And I'm Linda, Mama Valentine.
Getting used to it. Okay.
I'm trying.
Yeah, I respect it.
I can still hear him.
He was just on recently. It's all good.
You know, Mama misses, the other half of the other third of us. So on this episode, I think it's important to really go into what it means for parents, moms especially, when you feel like you've hit a certain pivotal point in your life of tiredness that is past beyond tiredness, right? And I'm talking about burnout.
Yeah.
Burnout is real. And I don't think I ever had a real comprehensive understanding of those symptoms of what it means to be in a state of burnout, because it's an extreme exhaustion. It's when you no longer feel like your everyday tasks, daily activities. It's when you just don't feel like you can take another step or add something else to your daily life.
It's real.
And it's real. And I have to say, I think I have probably experienced it more often than I can remember, than I can want to even admit I did. Because growing up, tiredness was sort of a sign of weakness.
Ooh. Tell me more about that.
It was.
Yeah.
Like if you did not hit the pillow with just an extreme sense of like tiredness, it wasn't a successful day. You didn't do enough. And I don't believe I ever understood anything but that.
And how toxic that is, because it's like a badge of honor to be tired. It's like, oh yeah, I'm tired. Good job.
Good job. Yeah.
Good job. You should be tired.
Right.
But that's not healthy at all.
I mean, it's not. I think when you really put it in perspective, boy, have I lived my entire life that way. Just
like tired?
Like tired.
Tired.
And, again, there's good tired where, you have an exhilarating day or week or success or...
That's normal, right?
Yeah.
At the end of a day, or even when we're on vacation, at the end of vacation, at the end of the day, we're tired.
It's that tired every day.
It's like we're tired, ready to go to bed. But this is a different type of tired. This is burnt out tired.
No, this is different.
That is when you essentially almost wake up tired.
Yeah, it's even beyond that.
Yeah.
I think you start realizing, not that I think, I know, you start realizing that your body is just breaking down. And it creates a lot of ailments. It creates a lot of because it's not just a mental exhaustion and a physical, but it's an emotional, a spiritual. And one of I know now, looking back, one of the things that I recall that I think was a changing awareness for me was the moment where getting out of bed was excruciating. Because I didn't feel as though I had any type of accident or anything that would, in my opinion, create such a level in my life.
Yeah, no, that's deep, right? Because what you're expressing is when you already hit that burnt out stage, you are there.
Past.
You're past it, right?
Past.
There's you need 10 years to recoup type of feeling. What it really feels like. Been. Right?
It has been.
Yeah. And so my first question is for you, and what are those signs for you? Because I think when people talk about burnout, when signs are different for everyone.
Maybe different for everyone, but there's a similarity.
Yeah.
There's a path of similarities. I think it's when you start feeling also disconnected.
Okay.
You feel not that you don't care, because obviously you're in it because you care, right? You wake up every day with my purpose has always been my family and both of you, and so that has always been my driving purpose, to get up every morning, with love and happiness and what have you. But when the tasks are so overwhelming, or the need is beyond your everyday capacity, because you are burning the candle at both ends, you are working past beyond your own capacity or what would be a normal life day for anyone. And when you're doing that on a consistent basis, for me, one of the things is just complete disconnect. Again, it's not that you don't care, but you're no longer feeling, whether it's the physical pain, because it's just a constant physical pain all day long, or the emotional needs of yourself or your family. You are just become sort of a working horse idea. And that's not healthy for anyone, not the person who is feeling the exhaustion.
So are those the first signs for you?
For me, yes, it's the disconnect.
It's a disconnect.
It's the emotional disconnect. Because you go through some levels of frustration, internal frustrations, that you can't meet the expectations, whether your own expectations, your family expectations, the needs. You start feeling an extreme level of just frustration, and that can turn into like anger, sadness, and these are all extreme like feelings within yourself. I know for me, the physical pain was a clear indication for me that something just wasn't right. But that was already years of having certain levels of burnout already. Yeah. I think when I came to that level of just massive physical pain, that was like my body already saying, no more, you can't anymore. There's nothing left to do, to give, to, and I know that many, moms, parents go through those stages. And I know for me, the disconnect is like the most biggest, I guess, red flag, because indicator, yeah. The biggest indicator, because I don't tend to stop when I'm either feeling frustrated. I don't tend to stop when I'm already feeling tired. I have to feel days and days of tiredness or exhaustion and that moment of disconnect where I'm like, okay, now I have to step back.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Because I'm not accustomed
Yeah.
I'm accustomed to going every day, doing every day,
Wearing the badge of honor of tiredness. Yeah.
maximizing myself every day. It is very much the makeup of me, or that became me. And so trying to, peel off these layers sort of, is a really big challenge for me, because I don't know essentially like when to stop. As you call it, the badge of honor. I mean, I don't think of it as a badge of honor,
No,
but
I'm more
right.
referring back to like society, like the badge of honor of like tiredness, right? As you said, of it was expected to be tired. It was expected.
I think that it's I don't know if it's common, my generation, but I mean, it's very possible. It's just a generation. But no one ever talked about being tired. No one ever talked about.
Why don't you think so? Why do you think talking about burnout or talking about being tired? Because that's a natural feeling. It's a natural occurrence that I would say everyone goes through at least one time in their life, but it's not really talked about.
I don't know. I mean, that's a great question. I can only think about that growing up in my generation. We didn't really talk much about topics as such. It's not something that we sat down and analyzed and talked about. And, you're just tired and you get up and do what you get up and do what you have to do the next day and get over it, basically. And it's interesting, right? Because you realize now, for anyone, whether it was my generation or generation even before, sometimes it is nice to sort of talk it through and allow yourself to kind of feel it and maybe make adjustments or make some changes if possible. I know there's sometimes you're in circumstances that you're faced with certain challenges that you have to weather the storm and get through it. That I feel is also part of life.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's great of a question, but we just didn't talk about it. We didn't see it necessary. It was just like anything else. You get up and you just move on and do your best the next day, or keep moving. And but it, again, burnout is real. It's real.
Do you feel burnt out right now?
I was feeling burnt out before we went on our trip.
Okay.
I really was starting to feel and there's a level of anxiousness that comes over that it's just a temporary, but I start feeling it because I sort of think of it as a dog chasing its tail. It's not going anywhere and it's just chasing something, but it's not, you're not helping yourself. And even though you're working on a day-to-day basis, you still don't feel like, not only you're not being fulfilled, you don't feel like you're enjoying what you're doing. And that's another sign. Like, I don't feel like I enjoy my everyday task, which I do. I wake up every morning, I'm an early riser, and I just...
Like the things you typically enjoy,
yeah.
You just don't as much or don't at all.
Yeah. Because of that disconnect from what I'm doing. And again, I know this happens so much.
Happens to everyone, yeah. And I think it's not talked about amongst parents.
Yeah. It's hard to come to those conclusions. And not just that, but sometimes for those who do experience that extreme burnout and tiredness, it's hard to ask for help, especially when you're raising with someone with a special need. Within our disability community, it's hard to turn and ask for help. Where do you turn? Who do you ask? Especially when either your immediate circle really doesn't have the answers. Maybe if you're confining in someone within your inner circle that cannot relate, you sort of feel as though I don't know, so much the idea of not being heard or understood, but you're not finding the resources to help you move on, or create a plan even of how to do things better, how to help your family, how to help yourself, without allowing it to get to that place and point. I know for me, learning that has been so much more helpful, where I'm now aware.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm hitting a time, a space, a moment where something has to change, because I don't want to go down again that road, that path that felt like, I don't know, it just felt like I wasn't going to be able to come out from it. So again, it's just, I say it's real. And I know a lot of moms go through it. A lot of parents go through it for different reasons. But
so how do you combat burnout from your perspective?
I think changing scenery is one way. And what I mean is, like, even just going, when we were on our trip, right, that was a whole different level of tiredness. But changing the scenery, finding different things to do, taking yourself out of the environment that's causing you like tiredness, asking for help, because it really is important. It's not always easy, but it is really important, because sometimes even having that break, for me, sometimes having a weekend break does wonders for me. It really does, where I don't have to think about work, or just really think about attending to maybe some of my needs, or refilling that cup. Sometimes even a day will do that for me, just as long as I haven't already passed a certain space of no return, or feels like no return, then I do. But again, going on our trip, that was different, and really helped me come back with a different perspective and desire, and energy, and it was
like the world was a little brighter after.
a lot brighter. And that helps a lot.
That's important, because I think burnout happens to everyone.
It can, yeah.
I know it does, right? I know it does. For me, it happened a lot during school. When I was in college, I would feel like a zombie, probably look like a zombie. Don't even know how I was walking from one building to the next. I was like, oh, how did I get here?
Sometimes a grizzly bear too.
it was rough. And again, for me, it was never taking care of like my physical health, my mental health. I was just like waking up like, okay, time to study. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, time to go to work. Boom, 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 boom. And I was working 3 jobs at that time too, while in college. So I was meant to burn out, for lack of a better term. And yeah, burnout is just so relatable. And I think the more we talk about it, and the more we reflect on what ways we burn out, is also a way to identify it, so we don't get to that point.
Yeah, because I think sometimes it feels as though you're headed down that path without even really knowing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happens for you, but I know for me, it takes a real moment of just frustration, or just a moment of real sadness, where I have to reflect and say something has to change, because one, it's not me on a day-to-day basis. But yes, it's true. Burnout can happen at any given time. And I think I wanted to make sure that anyone out there that is feeling burnout, or feeling on that brinks of it, that you're not alone, that this happens more often, because we talked about how it's not talked about. It's, I know for me, it felt like moments of shame. Like, why am I so tired? Well, I shouldn't be so tired. I should still be giving my family their best, my best. You know, they deserve my best. And I'm sure maybe for you being in school, you know, you knew that if you didn't give your best at some level that, you know, you wouldn't do well in your classes. And that's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of also pressure in that environment of school, and, you know, what society also puts pressure on is getting the grades and doing well. And there's this element of, you know, I know for me when I was in school too, there's these all-nighters, right? And we know that they're not good for you.
Not at all.
They're not good for you. And they are, if you do enough, that you start feeling in a place just mental exhaustion and physical exhaustion and you know. But I think it's important. It's important, just like any other topic we've been talking about, is bringing just light to it, extending that grace, because sometimes we don't. I know I don't. We're hard on ourselves. It's very common for me, I'm sure for you, to just be hard on yourself. And there are a lot of expectations, and our families do need our best, but they also need us to be happy and to be able to still enjoy those joyous moments, because being disconnected often doesn't allow you to
be connected to loved ones.
Yeah, to be connected with your loved ones. And, you know.
So as someone that sounds like an expert in burnout, as someone that experienced it quite a bit, what would you recommend to our audience, to parents that are experiencing burnout?
I think first and most of all is acknowledge it. That it's okay. Like, you'll be okay. Acknowledge it, but also important to figure out what the root cause is, because it's different for everyone. Yeah. Like you said, you know, you went to college, and, you know, even though it was temporary, I'm sure there maybe would have been other ways to help you through it before you got to that point of burnout. So what's the root cause? When you start feeling, like I said, I know for me, when I start feeling a little bit of anxiousness, disconnect is the biggest one for me. That's like the first indicator, because in order for me to feel disconnected, I have already at this point gone through the frustration, the sadness.
So acknowledging and understanding like what your signs are.
What my signs are, at least for me. So that if you catch it early on, then you won't get to a place of burnout. You can manage it by taking yourself out of the environment. So going out for a walk. That seems to be such a great turning point for me. And finding support, whether it's family, friends, even sometimes someone to talk to. Yeah. That sometimes just helps. It's a release, because to be able to find those little subtle releases in your life can do wonders, can really help you turn the moment, the day, the week around for you. Yeah,
so it sounds like it's for you, when a lot of those things potentially happen, it's some need is not being met, whether Absolutely. It's and I think that's very common for a lot of people, right? Whether that's a physical need, you going for a walk, an emotional need, talking to someone, spiritual need, or mental, right? Like that mental break from a situation, from that element. Yeah. It could even be a physical space.
And it could be it could really be that easy sometimes, depending. You have to get to know yourself, right? You have to know what those maybe potential triggers are, those pivotal points that are leading you towards that path. It took me a long time, because for me, this was normal. This was just normal, you know? I think it's just so important, because if we don't start taking care of ourselves, if we don't fill up our cup, then it's always going to be that much more difficult to take care of our families, to take care of, our careers, anything that fulfills, even brings extra joy to us in our lives on a personal level. I enjoy doing what we do, but it doesn't stop me from having those moments of burnout.
Yeah.
And saying, okay, something needs to change this week. But yeah, it's important. I think it's great that we're talking about it and gives a voice to anyone who's really feeling that, and letting them know that they're not alone and it really is okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Mom, what is your golden moment?
I think my golden moment is just realizing how relatable this can be for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Like even you speaking about your experience in college, and burnout can happen to anyone. I don't think that I understood it was burnout. I didn't, like, that golden moment is just realizing that when you get down to the root causes of anything in your life, you can find ways to change it. It doesn't have to continue being what it is.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for that now. And I'm happy that I have these moments that I can change, the path of something by just being aware of myself. And sometimes you're not. You're not because you're too busy doing what you feel you need to do, or going about your day, and you kind of bottle everything up. And I was accustomed to doing that, just bottling everything up and waiting. Not that I was waiting for it to explode, but when I had that explosion moment of frustration, or that is my golden moment, is that you don't have to bottle things up. You can find ways to change that path. And it's from just doing the small little tasks of change.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's important. I think my golden moment is really thinking about those triggers for me that make me experience burnout. I think that's important to like have that reflection. I don't think I've had that reflection in a long time, to be honest, because I knew those triggers in college. For sure, it's different, but again, I think we all experience burnout at certain points in our life, our career, our situation, and not that all of it is avoidable, but
Right.
it's very easily minimized if there's a recognizable trigger, or recognizing within yourself what's happening. So you're able to combat that with whether it's a self-care or a vacation or just a walk, even sometimes can do it to not get to that burnout state. So it's a reminder to myself to reflect on that.
That's good. That's a good one.